Hey everyone, it's Desiree. I am back with another video for Rubber Stamp Tapestry. Once again, they sent me their new release and I was so surprised. Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, created stamp sets for them, and these are rubber stamp sets. So I'm going to go through them real quick. So that's Succulents. They are all hand-drawn by her. This one here is the Woodland Harvest, some great trees and birds and acorns. This one is Budding Spring. We got a little bunny and a little chick. We have Woods in Winter. And then we have Trees. Now what's great with the one with trees, these are smaller version than some of the other trees in the previous sets that I'm pointing out here, which is really cool. One of the things that I love when she shows is silhouettes. So you have the black image and then you have like a different background. And I know she recently just did a video and she really inspired me. But when I saw her stamp sets, that is pretty much what I did see. So let's create something here. So I'm grabbing 2 pieces of Canson XL watercolor paper. And know that my Canson XL water paper is always cold press. It's not a hot press. Cold press just means there's texture. Hot press means it's smooth. So as we all describe it, so many people do, iron, you use that to flatten out the wrinkles, smooth. So that's how you can get hot press. I do like the texture of what cold press can do. And I do like Canson. It's very inexpensive, it's very reasonable, and you can find it everywhere. The watercolors that I'm going to use are from Crayola. Yes, I have Mission Gold, I have my favorite, which are the QORs. Absolutely. Got all of that. But I really do enjoy the Crayola as well. You can use these in our card making, and they are so inexpensive. These 8 colors, they're like $3 from your local craft stores. I encourage you, if you want to try watercoloring, pick a set up. So what I'm doing is what's called a wet in wet technique. What that means is you put water down and then you take your color and you drop it into that water. I like that technique because, let's face it, the watercolor's doing the work, not me. I'm just dropping it in there and I'm letting the colors blend. I am mixing my colors. I love mixing blue and green together. It gives beautiful shades of teal. I love mixing blue and purple together, depending upon how heavy you go with with either color will depend if it's a darker shade of purple or a darker shade of blue. But also mixing that with that teal color gives you a beautiful color as well, and that's what I did towards the end. I don't want perfect backgrounds. I want them to look sketchy. I want them to kind of be all over the place. I do tape these down, as you can see. I do use painter's tape. I do put it against my skin so it's not as sticky. And that piece of board, I could not tell you where I got it. It's just an old piece of board that I found in the house. And since I didn't know what it was for, I figured, oh, craft room. And that's what we use it for. It's perfect to hold 2 of these sheets. When it comes to my watercolor, I usually buy a couple packs. I cut it down into quarters. So these are 4.5 by 6. They're big enough so that I can cut them down further if I have to, or of course I do when it comes to my card bases, but I've got some room. So you can see that's all I did. I just dropped colors. You want to make sure that you're mixing colors that are in the family, meaning cool to cool, warm to warm. That's kind of like what I say. You can mix reds and blues. That, of course, gives you purple. But you don't want to put a yellow and a purple. Sometimes that will give you mud. So just be cautious of the colors that you are mixing. So I've got 2 different sizes here. I want to check to make sure that they are dry. We do the palm test. Put your hand on there. Make sure it's not cool. If it's cool, it is still a little damp. You can also know that it's getting dry because when you do this, they'll buckle up. That's why we tape them down so that when they dry flat, or when they dry, they go back to flat, and then the tape helps to keep them that way as well. So if you're using your heat gun as they lay back down, they're starting to dry as well. I'm using my VersaFine ink. That was a lot of gabbing going on there. Using my VersaFine ink, and I just want to stamp the large tree. I just loved the look of that tree. I don't know, there was just something about it. I think this tree is also going to be awesome for Halloween. I'm already getting, I know, we're only in February, I get it. But I do love decorating for Halloween. So, and since I used my VersaFine ink, I'm going to use my clear embossing powder because I want that to stand out just a little bit. And it'll give it some texture, even though the paint behind it, the watercolor, did give some texture as well. And again, Crayola paint. I think it's beautiful. So if you want to try watercolors, I encourage you to get a Crayola set first. Play around with it. And then search what type of set that you would want to get when you want to make that investment. I chose the sentiment just because. I love that sentiment. Those cards I will send or I'll hand out to people. Believe it or not. I think it's just a beautiful sentiment. I'm using one of her other trees. I don't know, this tree, it reminds me like a bonsai tree, and I'm probably wrong of what it is. I'm just saying that's what it reminds me of. And I'm actually going to use the larger one, and I'm going to use the smaller one. Both of these are actually in her stamp set called Trees. Excuse me. And again, I'm using my VersaFine. I'm putting one towards the back. I did mount my rubber stamps onto cling foam. You don't have to. You can use the Aleene's Tack It over and over and then just store them on a piece of plastic as well. I just do like to have the cling foam on it. It gives me that cushion when I am stamping. And then I just make sure that I'm looking at what's flat so that I can put that down. For that sentiment, I chose Just a Note. This is the stamp set that I pulled my sentiments from. If you're looking for a very versatile stamp set, that is the one. That is by Hero Arts, and I will make sure that it is linked down below in my description if you are interested in that. I used my antique frame dies from Penny Black. I am loving these dies more and more. My wonky for my favorite things are still my favorite. But I really do like these. And whenever I use these, I have to get out my vintage photo or one of my distress inks and just ink around the edges. I just love the look of it. You guys know me. I love to tear paper. So since I didn't tear these, we always can go with the die, and the die will do it for me. And you can see as I distress around, I do bring it up onto the top of the card as well. I'm not hitting just the edges. I want the edges to have a little darker hue, but I'm okay if it comes up onto the front of the card. I'm actually pulling some card bases out from my stash that were already, I know it's a side folding card there, believe it or not. Usually mine are always 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding. But I think these were from a Simon Says kit, and they gave you tons of card bases. So I'm actually just going to use them up for these two cards. I grabbed some of my fun foam, as the camera shook there, sorry about that. And I'm going to place them down onto the bases. Now this double-sided tape that I'm using, I did get at Joann's. It is 1 inch thick double-sided tape from the Ms. Sparkle & Co. Product that they are carrying in. So again, I encourage you to check these out. I am actually so honored that I have these. I just think it's funny. She started me in this journey of card making many years ago. I don't know how. I just found her on YouTube. I just started watching it there, and she really pulled me into this. So I think it's great that I can own something that she has designed. So hopefully I did them justice for her. Please, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. All the supplies that I use will also be listed down below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We honestly do have a good time. I love my supporters. If it wasn't for you guys, I really honestly wouldn't continue to do this. So always remember, be creative.